Everything I'm about to say to you has never been talked about on YouTube in this way before, and it is information that passes down in my family and I will now share with you. If you are someone that is tired of feeling limited, if you're tired of living in fear, anxiety, or feeling hopeless, if you're just done with this reality that's been painted around you, this video will change your life. I'm going to scientifically explain to you why you are the way you are. Not only am I going to release any limiting beliefs or blocks and stuck trauma within your mind and body, this video is also going to help you navigate the world better. I cannot stress how important this information is for your success and your future generations of your family. If you are someone that is used to flashy animations and you have a short attention span, you need to get over it and push through that, because what I'm about to share with you can change your life. So your brain and your body has something called programs. Programs that are downloaded into your subconscious mind and even your body. So when you were a child, you depended on your parents, any authoritative figure, to develop your mindset, to teach you how to be in this world. You were generally taught what was good or what was bad. You were taught what pain was, things like love and heartbreak. So programs is pretty much the filter that you see the world in. Beliefs, patterns, habits you've developed along your journey of life, things you've learned from loved ones, from life experiences as a child to an adolescent and to an adult. Now I want you to think of your mind as a computer. And within this computer, we have these programs that have downloaded into our subconscious mind like software. So on this journey from a child to an adult, you've gone through things in life such as heartbreak. Maybe you got into your first relationship and you got cheated on. You have gone through experiences such as traumatic events. Maybe you got into a car accident. Maybe you fell and broke a bone. Maybe you have gone through some kind of trauma as a child, such as abuse, whether that's physical or mental abuse. These experiences have downloaded into your subconscious mind and have developed your way of life. There are now programs into this computer, into your subconscious mind. Other programs can include things such as if you were a child and you grew up in scarcity, if you were not given a lot of food, if you were neglected, then chances are you have gone through this journey of becoming an adult living in scarcity. So living in a constant state of survival mode, having to worry about when your next meal will be, or living paycheck to paycheck even. Coming from a childhood or experiences of scarcity, you most likely have the programs and limiting beliefs that you are not worthy of riches. Maybe getting rich is impossible, or maybe you don't even see yourself as possibly achieving any type of abundance. All of these experiences have downloaded into your subconscious mind and are now this filter of how you see life. So you develop these programs through life experiences and things you've been taught along the way from people or loved ones. All experiences that make up your belief system today. However, what if I told you that the habits and belief patterns that you have right now are not yours? You can also develop these programs through something called epigenetics, meaning not only can you develop these programs through your life experience, you can also inherit them from your family. Epigenetics is basically the study of cell function and how the environment or things external from you can trigger genes within you and turn them on or off. This is very critical information, because if you have someone in your family, maybe your mother or your uncle or your grandfather, has gone through traumatic experiences within their childhood and has not healed these programs, they have highly likely passed those traits down to you. The thoughts that you have in your mind and the feelings you feel about yourself every single day might not even be yours. A prime example of epigenetics is, have you ever met somebody that can just pick up an instrument and they're naturally good at it? Chances are that that person has someone down the line in their family that is musically talented or creative. However, it's extremely important for you to understand just how serious epigenetics can get. So there was a study done at Emory University where they had a group of rats, and what they did is they took a male rat and they made the rat smell the cherry blossom. And immediately once the rat smelt it, they shocked it with electricity, conditioning the rat to feel fear when it smells the flower. They repeated this process a few times and then placed the male rat back into the cage of rats. Later on, this male rat impregnated one of the female rats. And when the offspring of the rats were given the scent of the cherry blossom, the baby rats were extremely sensitive and traumatic to the smell. This experiment shows that the trauma that the male rat experienced passed down to the offspring, and the baby rats inherited that trauma. Now you might be thinking, well, those are rats. I'm going to paint the picture so clear for you guys. There is this worldwide limiting belief that African American people fear water, that they cannot swim. Now, why is that? The reason is because if you go back to the time of slavery, when human beings owned other human beings, slave owners trained their slaves to be afraid of water. They physically, mentally, and verbally abused their slaves to program them to fear the water, to fear the ocean around them. Now, the slaves' objective was to make sure that these slaves did not escape their slavery. But that programming conditioned these African American slaves to truly believe that the water would kill them. This programming was also done with dogs. Dogs were used to hunt slaves, to gather them, to abuse them. And when the time finally came for slaves to escape their slavery, they were forced to cross this water, the water that they were born to fear. And that experience was so traumatic for them that it is passed down from generation to generation, and that is why it still exists today. These programs are existing in our subconscious minds, and they're affecting our everyday decisions. Any decisions we make is being filtered through that lens that we've developed through our childhood, through our beliefs, limiting beliefs and traumas that we've inherited. Programs can even awaken later on in life if they're triggered from external experiences. There are plenty examples of children that have siblings and one of them have inherited a trait from their parent. Maybe their father or mother was an alcoholic, and the alcoholic gene passed down to one of the children and not the other. That child wasn't born and immediately an addict, but the gene resided within that child and then gets awakened by something that goes on externally within their life. Something triggers the gene to activate, just like when people develop epilepsy later in life. I personally come from a family where each generation has experienced sexual abuse throughout their childhood or at some point within their life. Obviously, abuse cannot be predicted, but the traits of a victim can pass down. If we go back to explaining these programs as filters, every human being is wearing their own customized pair of glasses. But why this is so critical is because if you've gone through something like heartbreak, and then you start to see a pattern in your relationships of constantly getting cheated on, if you don't deal with these programs turn into behaviors, and these behaviors form into personality traits. These programs block our blessings. It's like walking through life with a box over your head. You're almost putting a cap limit on your success because these filters can affect everything you do in life. Decisions, the people that we make as friends, who we get in relationships with, how we spend our money. So my job background is in the healthcare industry, and there was a time where I had a male patient that was in his 60s and he was extremely emotional. And every day that I spent time with this patient, he would constantly remind me of a story that happened to him 6 months before he had admitted into that hospital. And every day that I saw him, he would take me back to a specific fight that happened between him and his roommate, constantly expressing of how much he hated that roommate, enough to talk about it every single day as if he had completely forgotten that